C1. You are listening at FameTV.info. When Yin Qinghuan woke up, she only felt pain all over her body. The red marks on her skin were of varying depth. As pain throbbed in her lower abdomen, she couldn't help but curse at the beasts. The door to the bathroom opened, revealing a man with a white towel wrapped around his waist. Beneath his sturdy stomach was a barely discernible line from a mermaid. On his bronze chest, there were conspicuous scratches. Well, that was her masterpiece. With this comparison, they were on the same side. Qi Yanzhong looked at the woman on the bed with his long, knowing eyes. She lowered her head guiltily, avoiding his gaze that could kill. Yin Qinghuan. His indifferent voice didn't have a trace of warmth, but the loathing in it was self-evident. You were quite bold last night. You have quite the guts. Can you treat these words as praise? Yin Qinghuan suddenly chuckled softly. She slowly raised her head and looked at that person. Does Qi always mean that I forcefully slept with you? The man wasn't angry. He cast a sidelong glance at the dark red color on the bed sheet. Yin Qinghuan could see the ridicule within his eyes. It can't be that Director Qi doesn't want to take responsibility, right? Even though she was the one who drugged him last night and also the one who took off his clothes, she didn't see him in a passive state when she did it. So, in the end, she was still the victim. What? You want me to marry you? Qi Yanzhong said as he leaned over her, his bony fingers clamped on the woman's lower jaw, and his thin lips curved up into a sneer. What a pity that your looks are too bad. Bad looks. Yin Qinghuan laughed coquettishly. Her white and soft hands caressed the man's shoulders as her red lips slightly moved closer to his aura. She then said, Director Qi, you are so ordinary. She wasn't talking about looks, but her technique. Very average. Qi Yanzhong narrowed his eyes and pushed her away with a force that was neither light nor heavy. She didn't know if she should call him a lover or if he didn't know how to react. Seeing him slowly put on a suit, Yin Qinghuan opened her mouth once more, getting out of bed and turning hostile. Director Qi is not that easy to deal with. Her body had already been given to her. She should at least get what she deserved. He raised his eyebrows and adjusted the sleeves of his suit. His dark brown eyes showed no emotions, but his words were exceptionally hurtful. As far as I know, a few days ago Miss Yin committed suicide for the young master of the Chu clan, and she was able to get into my bed so quickly. Are you being frivolous or dissolute? The meaning behind his words was to call her a debauchee. Having known him for so many years, he didn't know that he could speak so venomously to women outside. Why are you making fun of me? Aren't you the same? The engagement banquet with the Qiao family's daughter hadn't been long, and she couldn't help but fall asleep. We are the same. If he said she was a lewd woman, then he was that adulterer. When he said that, she replied with a, why didn't Qi Yanzhong think that the young daughter of the Yin family had such a clever way of speaking? Yin Qinghuan had deliberately mentioned his fiancée, Qiao Yinhua, but it seemed. The man's expression didn't change. He probably didn't care from the start. She covered the bitterness in the corner of her mouth and stuck her white feet out from under the quilt. She touched his trousers, stroking them, intentionally or unintentionally. Her soft white toes gently moved back and forth. The next moment, his big palm was holding her ankle. She raised her head to look into his eyes, which were filled with a certain coldness. Her heart trembled slightly. The sister Yin Xiangzi taught us is no different from the woman he brought out in the dark. Nightfall, the largest place of entertainment in the city. The women inside were all worth quite a bit of money that he compared her to a young lady. How did it feel to be humiliated by a man she had loved for so many years? Yin Qinghuan could only say that this body wasn't hers, and her heart wasn't, so she felt nothing. That he was well aware that Qi Yanzhong would not marry her, so rather than continuing to pester her, why not, then Mr. Prostitute, give me some money. If he couldn't get the title of Mrs. Vi, and couldn't let himself be put to sleep for nothing, since he called her a miss, then he was also an inexperienced customer. After leaving the hotel, Yin Qinghuan took a taxi back to the Yin house. In the car, she looked at the three words, Qi Yen Shang, on the check in her hand, while her eyes darkened. Qi Yen Shang, if you were by my side on the night of the engagement money, maybe he wouldn't be strangled to death by that man. Now. Qiao Yino had died, but his soul had been reborn in the body of Yin Qinghuan, the daughter of the Yin family. What was even more laughable was that Yin Qinghuan's older brother. It was the murderer who had strangled her to death. Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.